Good morning. This is episode 57, October 26, 2018 of the Philip Koerper Show. I'm Philip Koerper, and I'm really happy to be with you here today. I want to lead off with this hilarious video that a friend sent me. This is Allie Stuckey. She's hilarious. So it is a video. You guys won't be able to see that on just the audio. But she just walks around and introduces this. This is great. It's a little long, but I love it.
Hi, I'm a spokesperson for the Democratic Party, and I'm here to tell you why you need to vote blue this November. Democrats are the party of love and tolerance. We promote inclusion and acceptance, peace, and goodwill. Republicans don't care about any of these things. They just want to talk about record unemployment, the economy, and keeping communities safe. Fascists. Democrats have positive, practical priorities, like abolishing the Electoral College, eliminating due process, and banning hate speech. These are the values of the American people. Well, at least Americans that live in San Francisco and New York. Republicans often use fear-mongering rhetoric like Constitution or liberty. Democrats condemn such language as divisive and instead focus on more unifying topics like or kneeling for the national anthem. Democrats are the party of equality, so much so that we insist upon unconditionally believing women and disbelieving men because, well, feminism. If you ask us to explain this logically, we will scream in your face and call you a misogynist. Republicans want to take away a woman's sacred right to choose to have her child decapitated inside the womb and torn apart limb by limb with forceps. Democrats celebrate the right to violently murder your child because we're compassionate. Democrats believe that women are powerful and independent. They are also helpless victims of the patriarchy who require government intervention to succeed. Any woman who disagrees with us on this is a self-hating, stupid bimbo. And you know, it's time someone was finally brave enough to say this. Republicans are racist. Democrats have the same positive message for minorities that we have for women. You're a victim, and you're useful to us. If you disagree, we'll insult your intelligence, but it's for your own good. Republicans want to stop certain people from coming into this country. They cite the infiltration of gang violence or opioids or sex trafficking as reasons to stop illegal immigration. But Democrats accept these as the natural consequences of opening up the borders, which, of course, is the more loving thing to do. Democrats recognize that the key to a better tomorrow is to look forward, not backward. That's why we reject capitalism and all of its greed and instead opt for socialism, which has worked so well every time it's been tried. Democrats are the party of the common people, the poor and the marginalized, the weak and defenseless. While Republicans promise freedom, we promise free stuff. That's how we win over young people. Our goal is to make the government work for you so you don't have to work at all. Republicans are always pushing religion in our faces. We reject their bigotry. Religious people are idiots. Democrats would much rather you sacrifice yourself on the altar of progressivism. The truth is, as the party of empathy, we're just better than everyone else. That's why we spend so much time telling people who don't align with our agenda that they're not just wrong, but that they're bad people. We still haven't figured out that this condescension is what lost us the 2016 election. Nevertheless, we're confident that through censorship, emotional manipulation, and continued bullying that we'll eventually get our way. Why? Because we care about you. So much so that we're willing to wear you down until you fear getting silenced, doxxed, or fired because you don't agree with our agenda. That's love. I'm the spokesperson for the Democratic Party. Vote for us in November.
That's Allie Stuckey. I think that really summarizes. I mean, there are big differences between the Republicans and the Democrats. There really are big differences. And I think she touches on many of them. I really like how the Donald is really staying on focus. Yesterday, he was going on a tweet storm and personally identifying his endorsements for members of Congress and senators. And he tells you why he endorses them. And he'll talk about they're strong on borders, they're strong on the Second Amendment, they are for low taxes and tough on crime. I mean, these are the things that the Donald is really sticking to, and he's really winning on these issues. And these are issues that he was elected on, and these are issues that he's really he's keeping his promises on. He's staying on focus and on point. And speaking of that, this is a great article in the American Spectator by Scott McKay, and it's entitled "Stop Apologizing for the Mail Bomb Clown." This is so true. I mean, so we have these suspicious packages. Okay, the FBI really won't. I haven't been able to identify. I've seen pictures, but it looks like these are just kind of homemade little pipe bomb type of devices that, okay, none of them have exploded. Fortunately, no one's been hurt. But the Republicans just rush to the microphones and start apologizing for this clown, whoever did this, and just because he sent these packages to the left, I mean, we are now assuming, the worst, and the Republicans are apologizing, and the liberals, the left, are just blaming Donald Trump for all of this. So this article starts, for a while it appeared as though the GOP was shedding at long last its image as the stupid party, along with doing so, positioning itself to take supreme advantage of the Democrats' ideological and behavioral implosion for the foreseeable future, perhaps even as soon as the midterm elections in 2 weeks. And then came Wednesday and Thursday, in which the lead news story was some 10 or so suspicious mail packages addressed to a number of politicians and cultural luminaries on the left. What those suspicious devices do appear to be is tools of a political propaganda. Okay, then he goes on and lists about all the rhetoric on the left. Maxine Waters, HRC, claiming we're not going to be civil, yada, yada, yada. All the left, kick your opponents, Eric Holder. So all the left rhetoric. But then Scott McKay says, but if some wayward thinking conservative was behind those half-assed pipe bombs in the mail, he's the least effective political terrorist in the 21st century. No sooner did his handiwork cross the transom, but every Republican politician in sight rushed to the microphones to decry the poor quality of our current political tone. This just before a midterm election, when House district after Senate seat of them are running bona fide lunatics bent on bringing down our system of limited government and free enterprise and replacing it with the worst excesses from our college campuses. Sorry, but this is entirely the wrong message. We don't need the tone police. What we need is the investigation that the FBI and other law enforcement agencies are conducting at present, and it will be over quickly. And he mentions that it looks like this was went into the United States mail system down in Opelika, Florida. So anyhow, it's just okay. And he says, and despite the quick capitulation to the media's violent right-wing nut narrative, which sprang up in haste as soon as those packages were reported to law enforcement, nobody ought to be surprised if the bomber turns out to be a too smart by half Democrat aiming to pull off a false flag stunt. So we really don't know. We don't know who did this. Okay, but I think the Donald is handling this perfectly. He said what the federal government, we're going to investigate and we're going to figure out, who did this immediately. Okay, and he condemned violence. Okay, but the left is just pinning this on the Republicans right now, and it is frustrating. Even Fox News is just endless. 24/7 coverage of these huge trucks by the New York Police Department driving around, these supposed bombs. Okay, lots of drama, lots of hysteria. But I think Scott McKay makes a really good point about just rushing to apologize. You don't see the Democrats rushing to the microphones condemning violence. Oh no, they're not doing that. So the Republicans look weak and they look guilty when they're apologizing for all this rhetoric. Now, speaking of apologies, okay, this is really just unbelievable. This Megyn Kelly thing. Megyn Kelly was talking about Halloween costumes and wearing a black face or a white face And now she is just, oh my heavens. And so the next day she had a tearful apology, just full out and out apology. And oh my heavens. I mean, the blood is in the water. The sharks are swimming. It looks like she's gone. Okay, so she's out. And she's on her way out. It's just really just unbelievable that this is happening. The Daily Caller has an article showing pictures of Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, and Sarah Silverman all wearing black faces. Okay, so they got away with it, but Megyn Kelly just mentions people putting on a black face, dressing up as a character. Oh no, that is no. She crossed the line. She's gone. There's no forgiveness. Boom. Really, this political correctness is really very frustrating. And I think this is really the key to the Donald. He is politically incorrect. Okay. Almost on a daily basis, he is politically incorrect. And I think Americans, we love this transparency. We are so sick of this stuff. This Megyn Kelly, really? She's going to lose her job over this? I mean, I just think most of Americans think this is nonsense. This is absolute pandering to a minority crowd here of opinion. I just think this is really silly, but they're going to live by the sword. They're going to die by the sword. If the left wants to be really all into this political correctness and this snowflake mentality and this mock offense and these tears of rage at all of this nonsense, then so be it. But I call it out as being really dumb. And we can have a better debate and discourse. We don't have to be so afraid to mention something and then you are gone. If you made a bad joke, 35 years ago, you are toast. And so, I just think this is ridiculous. So I want to mention the mob, the unlawful mob coming up from Mexico, and they're just coming into the United States. Here they go. And so I love how the Donald is thinking and considering an executive order on border security. Okay, the Donald is going to try to do whatever he can, for a stronger border, and a stronger border will then allow us to have a debate on what should we do with all the illegals in this country and what kind of policies we're going to have. Until we have a strong border, people will just continue to pour in, and we can come up with all these different ideas on how to deal with the illegals. But until we stop the illegals from flooding into the country, then how can we have any kind of sound policy? He's talking about sending troops down there, not combat troops, but logistics, people who can help house all the border patrol down there and protect our border. Americans want a strong border, okay? Oh wait a minute. Actually, I made a mistake. No, here's a Daily Wire story of this guy, Ohio Governor John Kasich. Okay. Now, this guy is such a squishy squish, and I'm so glad that we have the Donald in there right now, who's a strong Republican. And which reminds me, I found this picture on the internet. This is just awesome. Now, supposedly this painting is in the White House. Now, for you just listening, this is a painting of these guys sitting down at a table. It's Ronaldus Magnus, Ike Eisenhower, Abraham Lincoln, Richard Nixon, W. You've got President Ford standing up smiling. They're all like having some drinks. Of course, the Donald, he doesn't drink alcohol. So he looks like a Diet Coke there. You've got back in the corner up here, one of my favorite presidents, Calvin Coolidge. Oh, Silent Cal. And you've got Herbert Walker smiling. Oh, it's just great. It's just great. Great Teddy Roosevelt. You've got just great Republican presidents all laughing it up. It's just great. So comparing that to John Kasich. Okay, so this is what John Kasich says, about, um, you know, Donald Trump. Poll numbers are really up. He's really popular, despite, this is a CNN Poppy Harlow. Okay, this just shows you where John Kasich is. CNN Poppy Harlow. Poppy, who is that? That is a funny name. I don't know. I never watch CNN. I don't click on anything with CNN. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to give them a red cent of advertising dollars. And so this is what John Kasich says. He says, well, first of all, there's a big chunk of the country that doesn't support him. So let's just kind of look at where things are inside the Republican Party. It's shrunken. And look, things have also become very tribal. Here's what bothers me. We have a caravan coming north. We don't want all those people coming across our border, and there are ways to deal with it. I believe if we could just check those who are legitimate in need asylum could be vetted before they even get closer to the border. But you know what? We're born in America. You know how lucky we are to be born in America and not to be born in Guatemala, where they would say to your daughter, if you don't do what you want, we will rape your daughter or we'll kill your son if he's not a drug mule. Now they're marching north, and you know what? It could easily have been all of us. We're in this caravan and we're marching north trying to save our families and save our children. And John Kasich goes on. You've got to start putting ourselves in the shoes of other people. We've got to start thinking about the consequences that others suffer. And if you have been spared those by the grace of God, let us be appreciative. Let us count our blessings, and let us reach out to those who have less. And let's stop putting up walls around ourselves and not understand the plight, the trouble, and problems of others. It's not right, and the Lord doesn't want it, and our people at their heart want to reach out to others. Look at what they do in these storms. They go out and rescue people they don't know, and they put them in their homes. They feed them. That's America. Not all this garbage and this division and yelling and screaming and hatred at all sides. I guess I feel strongly about this. This stuff's been bubbling up in me for a long time. Oh my heavens, John Kasich. He is separating two different things. We have the government of the United States. And who is the head of state? Oh, it's the Donald. Thank goodness it's the Donald and not John Kasich. The Donald understands what the Constitution is. He is the leader of our country. We have immigration laws. We have a border. And the Donald is trying to emphasize a strong border and a good change of immigration laws that are based on merit, not just people flooding in illegally. Okay. We also, yes, John, you're mentioning another part. The other part of America is our charity and how charitable Americans are. We are the most charitable people on earth. Where does that come from? Well, I would like to think it comes from our God-fearing background. Those pilgrims escaping religious intolerance in Europe and coming to America where they could practice their religion freely. We are a very religious Christian people. We have this awesome Judeo-Christian background, and we do reach out and help other people. There are many American NGOs in Guatemala, in these other places. We have our churches there. My church is there, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the church that I'm a member of. They are there in Guatemala. The Catholic Church is there. Many churches are really trying to fix the problems in Guatemala. But why are these countries S-hole countries, as the Donald says? These countries are in these terrible plight, this northern triangle especially, I mentioned yesterday, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. It's because their governments are corrupt, okay? And your kind little sweet talk here, John Kasich, is not helping us
change those countries. The Donald he's threatening to cut off their money if they don't stop it, if they don't shape up, okay, and make things better for their citizens. So there are this is a big, John Kasich is blurring two things here. He's what the proper role of government is, and then the proper Christian attitude towards helping our neighbor. Okay, they muddy the two up, and of course the Democrats muddy it up just so, as we saw in Allie Best's video, the Democrats just want to give out free ice cream to everybody and then control everybody. And they don't like private charities. They want the government to be charitable. This is such a huge division. I mean, but it gets muddied all the time. You have the proper role of government, and then you have the proper role of charities and charitable charities that are run voluntarily. You're not forced to contribute to these charities. There are lots of NGOs. There are lots of Christian charities. There are lots of non-Christian charities. There are tons of ways for us to help the people that John Kasich's talking about in Guatemala. I have friends who have adopted children from Guatemala. There are just incredible ways of helping. I know people who send money to help poor children in countries like Guatemala. Many, many different ways of doing this. Of course, the libtards, the leftists, they don't like to do that. They're tight with their money. They're not going to help with those things. They rarely do. They try to force government to do all those things. Huge difference here. Okay. This is why with the federal government and even local governments, I don't like it when government is involved in charity. Okay. They do a terrible job at charity. This is one reason why our inner cities, our cities are just rotting. The families are being destroyed in these communities, in for the most part, in the big cities. The families have been destroyed, and big government has had a hand in that. Why? Because big government is paying for these broken families. Big government is paying to raise these children where the men are supposed to be there with their wives and raising the children. A total debacle, total destruction of the family. Major cause of inner city crime and destruction and decay. And so, John Kasich, please do not confuse charity with the proper role of government. You're totally getting it wrong. The Donald gets it right. Okay? He gets it right. We're turning these people away. This is lawlessness. These people are breaking the law. They broke the law when they broke into Mexico. Now the Donald is trying to get policies like we have in Canada. If these people want an asylum, then whatever, and they get into Mexico, well, there they can, the Mexicans will provide the asylum for them. Okay. They're going through a safe country, supposedly Mexico, to get to our country. This is bogus. Okay. Yes, are these countries lame? Oh yes, they are lame. And why are they lame? Because the heads of their governments are corrupt. Okay, that's where the pressure needs to be. And the Donald is putting that pressure on these governments. And then the charities, we try to help these people best we can without enabling their governments. And usually their governments just steal all of our charitable stuff. Very difficult problem. So I hope I made that clear. I just think John Kasich is completely wrong here. And so glad that he did not get very far. Of course, the guy is a squish. Speaking of that, squish, we've got Barry Obama. Oh, where is he? Oh, he's endorsing this Nevada candidate. Oh, but this Daily Caller article by Andrew Kerr mentions that the ex-wife of this gubernatorial candidate, Steve Sisolak, said she said that he bruised her during an altercation with Sisolak after she filed for divorce in 2000. She says that she was treated like a total prisoner throughout her 13-year marriage with this Nevada Democrat. And she says, and former President Barack Obama and this Nevada Democrat Senator candidate Jackie Rawson, they had tweeted "Believe Women" in September. And other Nevada Democrats did not respond when asked to comment on the allegations after they endorsed her. So wait a minute, I am really confused. I thought we just believe all women. What is going on here? I just don't understand. Why is Barry Obama supporting this man? This man is apparently a brute. And he was being torturing his ex-wife, his wife at the time. What is going on here? I just don't understand. This is believe all women. Oh, this is just more. No, wait a minute. Oh, wait. I get it. This guy is a leftist. This candidate, Steve Sisolak or whatever, however you say his name, he's a leftist. So no, we can support leftist people, but and his wife must be a conservative. So we're not going to believe her because she's a conservative. So it's not believe all women. It's just believe all leftist women. Oh, I get it. Oh, it's just partisan politics. Oh, I get it now. And yet you wrap it up with all this virtue signaling and virtue. Like, where is Christine Blasey Ford now? Where did she go? I mean, man, I thought she had a great case against Brett Kavanaugh. Man, let's prosecute him. Oh, no, I guess not. No, I guess that was all just for the cameras. I guess we just believe leftist women, okay, not conservative women. I got it. I'm catching on. I'm catching on. You guys, thank you so much for listening. I want to close the show with a scripture from the Book of Mormon, Moroni chapter 7. And we were talking about charity, and this is a verse 45, it talks about charity. And charity suffereth long, and is kind, and envieth not, and is not puffed up, seeketh not her own, and is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, and rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in the truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, and endureth all things. You guys have a beautiful day. This is the Philip Koerper Show. I'm Philip Koerper. Copyright 2018. You can find this show, subscribe on iTunes or SoundCloud, or watch the video on my YouTube channel, The Philip Koerper Show. Of course, what else would it be named? Thank you. Have a great day.